One viewer, Counting My Blessings 7, wrote, "Please share some more about the books that helped you on your journey." So here are the top 5 books that helped to shape my retirement plan. Welcome and welcome back. Thank you for supporting my channel. I'm going to get right into it. So these are the top 5 books in descending order that helped me to plan my retirement. Number 5. Now, the book that I originally took out was called Investing for Dummies, but I went to the local library. I couldn't find that one, but I did find one by the same author, Eric Tyson, called Personal Finance After 50 for Dummies. What I like about this book is that it first of all has large print. If you know, you know. And it talks about tax laws, Social Security, savings and investment options. It's really a good reference book. So you can find definitions for a lot of terms you might be curious about. And it has these icons that are very helpful. So a light bulb means that they're giving you a tip, and a finger with a string around it means that you're about to read a reminder, and there are other icons that help you to easily navigate the book. And that's common in all of these For Dummies series. They're very easy to read for beginners. This book also offers many resources, including websites and online tools, as well as offline resources for assistance in your retirement plan. Number 4, The Dumb Things Smart People Do with Their Money. So this book has 13 ways to right your financial wrongs. And what I like about this and the rest, and all of these books actually, are that they're very engaging. And this one was written by an award-winning business analyst for CBS News, and they are also a certified financial planner. So it's she has a lot of clients that she's worked with, and so she has a lot of stories in these books based on what she's learned from her clients. If you are a fan of Chicken Soup for the Soul books, that's the style that this is written in. So lots of great storytelling in this book. So she gives examples of really smart people, bankers, engineers, lawyers, heart surgeons, who have made costly financial mistakes that ruin their chances at having a successful retirement. And it tells so many of these stories that you start to see patterns and identify common mistakes. It's very relatable because we all screw up from time to time, but she says we have to be able to mourn the losses, learn from our mistakes, and move on and not make the same mistakes again. But I really started to learn about how we have a relationship with money, and that relationship greatly affects the choices and the decisions that we make. Number 3, How to Make Your Money Last, the Indispensable Retirement Guide. So this author is a leading commentator on personal finance who has done extensive research on the topic. It talks a lot about how we don't want to outlive our money, and how to know when you can afford to retire and what standard of living you can afford. So another thing I found very important about this book is that it talks about the hidden costs and risks often involved with dealing with financial firms and their salespeople, aka the advisors, financial consultants, and brokerage firms' vice presidents. It talks about how simple a retirement plan can and should be. It doesn't have to be complicated. So this author offers ways that you can manage your own investments and withdrawals yourself. And alternatively, if you do feel you need that guidance, she offers resources to help you find someone who can really give you good advice, but for a really good price. And this book talks about Social Security at length, especially when to take it. So she talks about how a lot of people just take it at 62 because it's there. And they have no idea that if they were to wait a few years, they could increase the monthly total or the monthly amount of their Social Security drastically. I can relate to this and attest to it because I hear people all the time saying things like, well, I figure I'll claim my Social Security at 62 because I don't know how long I have to live. So I might as well take it at the earliest possible time that I qualify. Another thing that's really important that this author talks about is working strategically if you're married with your partner so that you can maximize your Social Security benefits. And this book speaks to me personally because this author encourages us to do away with the shame that's sometimes associated with downsizing and trimming expenses in order to not take so much out of savings. So I really appreciate that as someone who has been doing these things. And finally, this book ends on a positive note, talking about changing your sense of self, having purpose, being involved actively with your family and community and friends in a different, contributing way. Number 2, the AARP Retirement Survival Guide: How to Make Smart Financial Decisions in Good Times and Bad. So, this author is an investment counsel, which is a type of money manager, and a former lawyer on Wall Street. So, again, she has a lot of clients that she talks to. And it's really about creating retirement security. And that is, again, resistant so that we won't outlive our money. It's also about creating a resilient retirement plan that will last through economic ups and downs. So, this book offers great advice to beginners for creating a retirement plan without the use of a financial advisor. And this is another book that can be considered a reference tool. So the author recommends coming back to it as you have life experiences that are described in the book. When you notice that you're at a certain stage, come back to that part of the book. This book is great because it provides tools such as self-assessments, checklists, and lists of questions to ask yourself. And it's divided into 4 parts. So part 1 is about mastering cash flow, how to set up your own cash management system, how to be discerning in selecting a financial advisor based on the different services that they each offer. And part 2 is about evaluating retirement income products such as annuities and reverse mortgages. I'm still learning about retirement income products and how they work. How about you? Would you consider going with an annuity or a reverse mortgage, or do you already have one? Please comment below. I would love to hear about it and learn more. So part 3 of this book is about investments. So stocks and bonds, what to expect during good and bad markets, managing 401ks and IRAs, and other tax-deferred savings accounts. And then part 4 is about protecting retirement assets. We're at a stage in life where we have more assets than we have ever had. That puts a target on us. You're going to get a lot of people trying to sell you things that are not necessarily in your best interest or protective of your assets. So this book helps you to become aware and be able to spot red flags when it comes to that. And number 1, I already showed you this book in another video. So it's called The Simple Path to Wealth. The author is a successful investor who has been investing since 1975. And this book stands out because it's highly engaging to read. So this is very humorous and talks about how you have to have FU money. It tells really good stories that you can relate to, and it offers real online tools for hands-on practice. I kind of consider this book Investing 101. So it's really great for beginners. It encourages investing in a single index fund, specifically the VTSAX. So VT stat V the VT Sachs index fund with Vanguard. And by doing this, you have control of managing your investment and your level of risk. You have full control. And it involves very low fees because you're not paying a commission to an advisor. Since the VT Sachs is invested in so many companies, it's a type of mutual funds, it's pretty stable. And this book, it actually encouraged me to open a Roth IRA invested in the VT Sachs with Vanguard. And it's a humble investment, still in the 4 digits, but so far it's doing really well. It has grown. I also have some bonds through Vanguard, which I learned in this book that the bonds help to balance things when the stocks are down. So this book explains what to expect. For example, it talks about expecting the sometimes dramatic yet normal ups and downs of the market and how people will be panicking, but you shouldn't. And it talks about how the stock market is not predictable. One really key takeaway from this book for me was about the 4% rule. In this book is where I really, really learned about that. It helped me to put my teacher pension into perspective and really value it much more than I had before. A lot of times people will say you should save $1 million. You should have $1 million in investments and savings in order to have a successful retirement. And then you're supposed to withdraw 4% of that amount each year. So 4% of $1 million is $40K. And my pension is about $32K net. It's $36K gross, about $32K net. That amount divided by 4% is $810K. And that's why, even though I don't have hundreds of thousands or $1 million invested or saved, I can think of my pension as an investment of $810K that I'm taking around 4% of per year. Now, of course, I do have to account for the fact that its value depreciates every year due to inflation and not having a COLA or a cost of living adjustment. But, it just helps me to feel more confident that I can actually afford to retire using my pension, my side hustles, and eventually Social Security. So there you have it, the top 5 books that helped to shape my retirement plan. Now, while I was at the library looking for these books again, I came across this book. It's brand new and it was just published in February of 2025. It's called Buy What You Love Without Going Broke. So I'll let you know how this book is in future videos. And if you're interested in checking out these or any other personal finance books at the library, go to the reference librarian and ask them to point you to this number, 332.024. That section corresponds in the Dewey Decimal System to personal finance. So there you'll see a few shelves in your library full of books about personal finance and retirement. Thank you for watching and supporting my channel. If you'd like to continue following my early retirement journey, consider subscribing. Please bookmark this video in your own personal finance playlist here on YouTube and share it with anybody else you think might find it useful. Stay inspired and keep thriving.